All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Wing 7. This is going to be the final video on the tutorial. I just wanted to make sort of a all-encompassing review sort of video discussing my thoughts, the final thoughts that I had now that I've completed the entirety of the tutorial. So, to start off, I want to apologize for the audio in the last video at the end there. I did miss, for some reason it didn't record when I was recording it. I think it was because of my adapter. I did have to do the voiceover, so it's been re-uploaded. But thank you for watching if you watched the original one. With this one, this is going to be more specific to maybe help the developers create a little bit better sequencing with the tutorial, just based on my thoughts and things that I think were maybe missed or not included correctly. So I want to start off though by saying very good job. I think the tutorial is a very good start to help the player get a grasp of what to do. One of the biggest pros I want to talk about being, which one was it? I believe it's this spot here, the next goals. I think this little bar here, these were very good. I think it had a good sequencing to it. I kind of think that they should have went further with this one. It would have been nice to have also like unlock the 4th and unlock the 5th region. And I think specifically because I want to get into, one of the bigger issues of not having the Cyber Cubs, but I'll save that for more of the cons. This next goals list killed it. I love this. This was great. This gives the new player an idea of what they're supposed to be doing, right? It tells you, hey, level these buildings, up to 50 or up to 300, up to 400, up to 500, right? So definitely helped out a lot. I think it was a good sequencing. Also, it gives you an idea too, right? Like get your avatar to level 10, and also get to 500. And it's kind of like almost in order as to what you should be doing it. But again, you could do it in whatever order you wanted, however you wanted to play it. So yes, I really like these next goals. I think that's going to help the new players as they come in, keep on track and understand what they're supposed to be doing. Now, my only gripe about the next goals is when they are calling out buildings. I think they need to change this to businesses, right? We have businesses. That's what they're called. In our inventory, they're called businesses. Now, and I'm specifically just saying this because if we have people that speak limited amounts of English enough to get through, we want the nomenclature, the way that you're calling out things, to match the way that they're shown on the UI, right? So the user interface, either you need to change this to buildings and everything be called buildings, or I think the easiest route is just to call these businesses. Level up 3 businesses, right? You want to keep it the same, right? It just needs to be kept the same. That way people have an understanding of what they're supposed to be doing. Because if a person doesn't speak English as their first language, you've introduced everything as businesses and then you change it to buildings. I know for an English speaker, it's like and like, it's basically the same thing. But somebody might not catch on, right? And it could cause frustration because they could be like, well, what are these buildings, right? Like, should be intuitive, but just change the name. That's my opinion. I think it just makes it a lot easier. All right, so that's sort of my gripe, I guess, with the next goals. Everything else was really good on it. Now, also, I think when it comes to the sequencing, let me just bring up one of the previous videos. I think the sequencing and everything was pretty good. Now, let me go back to this one. This was part 3, right? So the goal here, if we can see it, was to get to Prestige 1 with 5 businesses. Now, I want to call out like one small change that I also want to see on this. Aside from the businesses to buildings, I want you to maybe consider putting a complete bar, or something to say like, hey, you already have 2 or you already have 4 buildings out of 5, right? Especially when there's some here that if we go and let me just check out tutorial 2. Oops, let me just go back to my channel here. So if you go back to my tutorial 2, you'll see in here, why does it say it's unavailable? Tutorial 2, that there was boosters, right? Activate a certain amount of boosters. Maybe it's a little bit later on. Let's see, was it here? But there was a spot where it said like activate 5 activate 5 boosters. Here, I think this is it here. Nope. Maybe it was earlier. Maybe it was part of tutorial 1. Could have been. Maybe let's check tutorial 1 then. Sorry guys, I should have had this a little better prepped. But with tutorial 1, let's go and check that out. It should have been here then. There we go. Okay. Let me pause that. And so I believe here it was. So you have get to level okay, place activate 3 boosters, right? There was another one that said activate 5. It must have been a little bit later on, and I missed it in the second tutorial there. But activate 3 boosters. It should have said like, okay, you've got 1 out of 3 already activated or something like that. And same with the level up 3 businesses. Should be, you know, a little bar there saying you've got 2 out of 3, right? Just so that people know, okay, hey, this is how much I've already got, and they can visually see it. I think it would just help a little bit with how the whole sequencing and the understanding of the game works, right? Now, another thing is you can see here also that they've grayed out the rewards. I'm pretty sure this rewards is where you click to put in the code. This is where you'd put in your referral code. There was no prompt at the start of the game. You know, back when I created my first account and was playing through with my account, the game had a prompt to say, "Hey, who put in your referral code for who you're playing, who referred you to the game," right? So there was no referral code prompt at the very start of the game now. So and if we go back here, now you can see I've made it through the tutorial. And it's already gone, right? It's already disappeared. Same with like if we go back, this was like at the start of the weekend, which would have been about 80 hours in or something like that. So there's a limit. I know there's a time limit to how long you have to be able to put in this code. And for some reason, it stayed grayed out the entire time and then it was gone. Right, so that's another issue. It shouldn't be grayed out. You should be able to click on that and put in the referral code right away and get those extra bonus diamonds. I don't know why it was blocked out. I thought it was going to stay there until you used it. But again, I guess because there's a limitation, I'm pretty sure it's like 72 hours. And this is about 80 hours into playing. So at 72 hours, I think it disappears. That's your, 3 days. So consider allowing that to be unlocked right at the start. What else do we got here? So there are some errors. So I want to go over some of the errors that I noticed throughout the game tutorial as I was playing it. So one of the big errors that I want to call out here. So the rarer the land NFT, the more sites, right? You call them sites. The spots that you can place businesses and diamonds it provides, right? So we're calling the spot that you can place a business as a site, which makes sense to me. But then you say you can have up to 20 active plots. Now, I'm not too sure what you're referring to as active plots. My understanding, because later on in the tutorial, you also call out the plots as the land NFTs, right? So rarer NFTs, land NFTs are called like plots. So 20 active, I was thinking originally you're referring to 20 active positions or spots, the sites that you could place the businesses on, right? These sites. But then when you call 20 active plots, then I was thinking maybe you're referring to how many lands you can have. In that case, it should be 10. So I think that needs to be changed to reflect either calling them you can have up to 20 active sites per plot, right? Or it needs to say you can have up to 10 active lands or plots per region, right? So people have an understanding of, hey, I can have 10 lands in this region, or I can have up to 20 active sites to place businesses if I have a mythical land. So this is very ambiguous and needs to be clarified a little bit better. All right, the next one is this small little nitpick. So you're talking about the mansion here, and you said that you can click the mansion itself, like click on the mansion to get to the mansion, right up here in the corner. So let's go, and it still doesn't work. So that you're not able to click on the actual mansion. If you can see me clicking, it doesn't bring you there. You can only click on the mansion button to get to the mansion. So for some reason, I think you need to either change that. I don't think clicking on the mansion is a good idea to begin with. You might accidentally click on it. I think just leave the mansion button at the bottom. So I think just get rid of this. Just say you can get there by using the button below, and you have the arrow pointing to the mansion button. So to me, I think that's an easy change. Just get rid of by clicking the mansion itself, because I don't think that's a good idea to begin with. All right, what else do we got? So this one here, this needs to be reworded. You guys, I think we can all agree this is really badly worded. I think it should say, but keep in mind each extra land will generate a little bit less diamonds than the one before. And you need to get rid of gives you a bit less, right? Just get rid of gives you. You want to just stay with the same nomenclature. You were saying generating diamonds. So I know gives you is the same sort of concept, but just say will generate a little bit less. That makes the most sense. And scratch out gives you. So small little error there just with the way the sentence is built. What else do we got? I believe we are on to the final sort of error that I found. And it's not a significant one. I just think the way that you guys called this out, so during the merging tutorial, a high quality tier, the income multiplier grows faster, especially for rare and legendary businesses. I would just say rare and higher, or put rare, epic and legendary businesses. Because as of right now, saying rare and legendary makes it sort of sound like epics don't really matter. So just a little nitpick there, not significant, but I think it just could be worded a bit better to include epics, especially because chances are the player is going to get some epics within those first blueprints from level 10. Okay, so those are the errors. I guess then when it comes to sequencing, I think everything was done well for the most part. I do kind of wish that you introduced the attacking a little bit earlier. Especially because it would have helped being able to boost your city a bit with the attacks. I get that you are maybe trying to protect the player at the start, just to make sure that they can't get hit, but maybe just because, again, and this is one of the other issues, which I didn't screenshot, but let me see. I'm pretty sure I can find it. It was part of this tutorial. You see here. It was, you guys said that you could attack. Maybe it was part of 4. Yeah, it might have been part of 4. Yeah, here we are. So you guys do say in the tutorial here that a new player will have a shield until they use their first attack. I used my first attacks and then I went and checked on my other account and I still had the immunity up for some reason, right? So it shows here that I still have the immunity. even though I had sent out some attacks. And as far as I could tell, it didn't unlock until I hit Prestige 2 with that business and ended the tutorial. So maybe just say that until you hit Prestige 2 instead of saying until you send out attacks. But again, I mean, either that or just make it so that it actually works. I don't know, maybe it was just really lagged out and took a bit longer. Maybe I needed to do more attacks to make it register, but I checked in a couple times and it still was greened out saying that I couldn't be attacked because I was a new player. So I think the wording there needs to be adjusted or at least held true because it didn't remove my immunity when I started attacking. I also think too that you shouldn't limit the leaderboard. The leaderboard's something interesting. I find that players might be curious about, like, hey, where's my rank? And if they can't even check the leaderboard at all until this part of the tutorial, which is about a good 80 hours into playing, like 80 consistent gold collection hours, which, I mean, maybe somebody could do it in like 60, but I'm thinking the average player is probably going to be closer to 100, seeing as I've got the experience to know what to do and play it fairly more efficiently. But that's my opinion. I think you should have potentially left the leaderboard for people to still look at it and look and see where they are on the leaderboard and see how they're growing on the leaderboard. That's just one recommendation, I think. But yeah, I mean, other than that, the sequencing is pretty decent, right? You also keep the momentum going by, like, you know, bringing up the goals and getting people to Prestige 2. So I think that's a good idea. You also talk them through unlocking another another mansion room. That's good. And I also think how the way they introduced regions was really good, right? So it can be overwhelming to try and figure out these regions. The only thing I do dislike is that you don't really mention the wheel, right? You're always going back to the map. I think you should have mentioned the quick change region wheel. Otherwise, players may not really know about it to begin with. So I think that's a good thing to really maybe mention in the tutorial, right? Especially once they've unlocked the third region. Maybe show them, hey, you can go hover over this and it'll drop the regions and then click on the region. That would be just something I think a little bit beneficial for the player to understand. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I can't really think of anything else. I mean, the workshop tutorial was good. I guess you guys don't really introduce the daily rewards. So maybe around the rewards, it would be kind of nice to introduce them. Plus, like, I don't know why you couldn't collect the boosters and attacks at the start. You had to sort of progress a little bit to be able to collect them. And then you also couldn't use boosters for a bit. But I kind of get, like, you wanted to introduce it, like, okay, let's put a booster on. So it made sense, and it really wasn't. It was maybe like 3 or 4 hours into the tutorial, so quite feasible for a player to sit down and learn the game. Mind you, I guess when it comes to the actual length of the tutorial, I'm gonna have to say it is really long. It does, like I said, I left my laptop on for probably about 5 days straight, and like checking in on it, every 4 hours, waking up in the middle of the night to make sure that I was still collecting gold to be able to progress a little bit faster with this. So, not every player is going to be able to do that, which leads me into, when you're introducing some of these concepts, like there was never any discussion at all. Like players really wouldn't have any idea that they only collect 4 hours of gold, right? There was no introduction of that. So, with the collection of how much your resource or how long you have as offline income, I think that needs to be brought up a little bit in the tutorial. I think maybe when you guys are at the very start of the tutorial, I think that maybe is a better time to introduce that part of it, and maybe give people a epic backpack, like a non-NFT. And Papa's mentioned this a few times in the Discord, so shout out to Papa Bigfoot for bringing up this really good idea. But there should be like a consumable, and give it like a 2-week limit on it or something. So give them a backpack with some capacity, right? Whether it's like, 15 capacity or something like that, plus the 4 that you have, and then also give them a little bit of extra offline income so they understand, like, hey, this is what a backpack is good for, right? And then when we get to the attack part, be like, hey, here's some weapons, go equip these weapons, and now let's send out some attacks, right? So that people get an idea of like, oh, okay, so we can go into here, equip some of these, right? And like, just have them on like a 2-week timer, right? And then at the very end, then you can talk about like, okay, now if you want to buy these types of weapons, here's where you can buy them and whatnot, right? Here's where the lands are, things like that. I think would go a long way to introducing the player to how the NFTs are going to help them in game, right? So I think something like that would be beneficial to include. And I don't think it's going to step on too many toes for the big players that have a lot of these NFTs, right? Being able to introduce the player to the benefit of owning these NFTs is only going to benefit the game in the long run. So definitely having some of these consumables is a good idea. Maybe there's even a way to get something like that, right? Maybe like every checkpoint, right? Maybe like if you hit level 10, right, you can unlock it. Maybe when they hit level 20, they unlock a Gatling gun that they can use for 2 weeks or something like that, and they have to activate it and use it. Or maybe as part of the rewards that disappeared later on, you could also go and use that as some way as part of like a referral code, right? So maybe somebody, if they've got a primordial land, their referral code's going to give some better benefits, right? So players are going to be seeking out these better referral codes opposed to just using somebody's that's got a starter. I just some ideas. But I mean, overall, to conclude, I think the tutorial is a really good foundation for what a tutorial should be. A lot better than the original one, that's for sure, which really didn't do much other than introduce you how to place furniture and open a blueprint and level up a business a little bit. So this at least gives you a good overview of like the factions. Maybe it'd be kind of cool to see if you had some more information on each of the factions. Like when the person goes to select one, maybe they could watch like a small little movie about like each of the factions and what they're all about. And that way they could decide, hey, this is the faction for me or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, I'm all down for more cinema. So just a consideration. And then also when it comes to the last thing, and I want to bring up, the Cubs. So you go to the world map, and I showed him one of my, I think it was part 2. You'll hear the honking, right? Let me see if I can find it in part 2 here. I'm pretty sure I was trying to show it here to see if we could see the Cubs. So let me see. Yeah, okay, here it is. So let's just. Okay. So here we're showing that the Cyber Cubs are here. I didn't have the audio on at this point because it's kind of annoying listening to them honk. But I did have it where we went and checked. Let me see. So again, I'm kind of concerned that like a new player might feel left out, right? They'll see people in the Discord if they go to it, saying like, hey, the Cyber Cubs are here. The Cyber Cubs are on Aurora Wilds, right? And they hear the honking in the world map, but they can't find them in the game. I don't see the reason behind locking them. I mean, it's just like a small little bonus. I mean, something fun for a new player to get exposed to, some extra bonuses and stuff like that. So, but they did finally unlock once you complete the tutorial. All right, so once you hit Prestige 2, they do unlock. But I think either have it so that you guys call out on the next goals to unlock the third region. I think part of it should be, unlock the fourth and fifth region, right? So you can get to the Molten Forge. And then I think at that point, or push all the way and get them to unlock all of the regions. I know you guys are like sort of putting it so that, hey, you can buy NFTs to unlock these regions, right? You don't need to purchase them. But I think maybe forego that sort of pressure to purchase the NFT and make it more of an incentive. Like, hey, once you unlock all of the regions, then the Cyber Cubs start delivering, right? And you can make it sort of like a fun little event. And even if you just force a Cyber Cub to show up, right, as part of the tutorial, so that the new player knows, hey, like I should listen for the honking, right? And then when I hear the honking, that means the Cyber Cubs are there, right? Because a lot of people don't know about these unless they've been playing for a while or pay attention to the Discord. But yeah, I think locking the Cyber Cubs is kind of a bad idea. And then on the note of locking things, again, the last little thing I'll say is the competitive event coming soon. I think it takes a while. So I don't know if there's a competitive event actually happening, if that barrier to click on the button and enter the competition is reduced so that they can join as the competition's happening, or if they're still forced to complete the tutorial. But I think, it's going to turn a lot of players off if they hear about Main City, hear about the competition, and they go, hey, I'm gonna join. Or at least call it out in the tutorial and say like, hey, competition's reserved for elite players only, and you need to meet this specific criteria to unlock the ability to compete against your fellow tycoons, right? Because there's no mention at all other than the leaderboard that there's competitions, right? So there's no real indication of how to unlock this or what you need to do to get into a competitive event. So I think that's also a little bit of a miss there and should be considered as an addition into the overall tutorial, right? Because now you can see it is unlocked. I can click on it, but in this video, right, it is grayed out. It is grayed out, and it's pretty much grayed out right until the end, right? It's basically that right until the very end of the tutorial, and once you've completed the entire tutorial, that's when it finally unlocks the competitive event calendar. So that's my 2 cents on it. We kept it under a half an hour. Hopefully this is going to help you guys understand some of the grievances I have with the tutorial overall. But for the most part, very good job. I really think that this is really on the right path and can be developed and formed a little bit better. Make some of those small changes, just especially when it comes to like the actual verbiage used, nomenclature for all of the assets, right? Change businesses or change buildings to businesses. Make sure there's like a counter, right? Your 2 out of 3 boosters already activated, or you've got, 3 of the 5 businesses up to prestige 1 or whatever it might be, right? I think that just helps out with the new player, especially as they get into the regions and have different businesses all over the place. It'll help them know, hey, I already got 3. I just need to get a couple more. But yeah, other than that, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I mean, it's not really the most entertaining one. It's just me griping about some of the changes, but definitely a good tutorial. I want to, hats off to the developers for putting this together. It's definitely going to help new players get acquainted with Main City a lot better than the previous one. But I do think, we can go the extra mile and get it there to be a perfect tutorial. I think even introducing attacking a little bit earlier would be beneficial. So thank you for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Hopefully I'll have a video coming out about Division 1 and what to do once you get into Division 1. Some pointers, some tips, and sort of discussion around what I've been doing to continue to climb the leaderboard. So stay tuned for that, and we'll catch you in the next video, guys.